On behalf, whoa, now it's working. Now it's working. On behalf of Kairos, West Michigan, we welcome you to this evening conversation with Archbishop Chacour. We are so happy for the interest in West Michigan, Holland, Grand Rapids, South Haven, Kalamazoo. I know there are many people from those cities, the Tri-Cities, are here tonight. I'm so proud of the board of direction that is emerging around the issue of justice for Palestinians. I want to introduce to you a few people, and then we're going to have an opening prayer by Father Charlie Brown, who's the lead priest here at St. Francis. To my right is Mike Spath, our partner, who's on the board of the Pilgrims of Ibelin. You'll hear more about that. And of course, Archbishop Chacour, welcome to Holland, Archbishop. Joan Deming, please stand up, Joan. Joan is the executive director of the Pilgrims of Ibelin, which is the American affiliate for all of the educational institutions spawned by our guest, the Marielias Educational Institutions, 3,000 students in Galilee. Joan, welcome. Without any further ado, I'd like to thank you, Father Charlie, for hosting this event tonight. We had about 134 at the Graves Hall today, which we're pleased about, students from the college and the seminary. And Father Charlie, you are a gracious host for us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as pastor of St. Francis de Sales, I'm very happy to welcome all of you here this evening for this time to listen, this time to dialogue. And Archbishop Chacour, very pleased to give you our welcome to our church and into our hearts this evening. So we're very happy that you're here. And let us, as we begin this conversation, let us begin in a conversation with our God as we pray. Lord our God, we give you thanks and praise for your goodness of so many witnesses in our world. Witnesses to peace, to love, and to justice. The witness of Archbishop Chacour and so many that collaborate with him in just building a better world for so many and being a voice for the voiceless and in hope for those that are sometimes caught in despair. Open our hearts, Lord, to listen to his message and to turn all of our hearts to be those peacemakers in our world today, that all of us may, in prayer and in love, be connected with all our brothers and sisters throughout the world that are hungry and thirsty for justice. And as all of us desire that peace, let us also work for justice, and let us be instruments of your reconciliation. And let that justice continue to transform our hearts and our minds, that we may give that witness to you, Lord. And we make this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Over here. Sorry.
Thank you. I am Joan Deming. I'm with Pilgrims of Ibelin, the American kind of friends of organizations supporting the schools that Father Elias Chacour founded in Ibelin, Israel. And in order to begin the evening's presentation and set a bit of context around his stories that Father Chacour will tell you, I'd like to share some pictures of the area that he grew up in and the schools that he founded. So as he tells his stories, you can picture the place where they happened. So this slide up on that's a beautiful screen. I love how the ceiling line works. The state of Israel and the West Bank and Gaza are about the size of the state of New Jersey. So this is a very small country. And very near the top of that slide are two black arrows pointing toward villages with yellow names on the screen. And the top arrow Very near the top is Baram, the village where Father Chacour was born. And just below that, near Haifa, still in the far north area of the present-day state of Israel, is the village of Ibilin, where he spent his ministry and founded his schools. This is Father Chacour standing in the foothills surrounding his village of Baram in the northern Galilee area. And around his feet you see the ruins of some of the houses that were destroyed after 3 years after the founding of the State of Israel, after all of the families living there had been expelled from that village. This is what the village looked like soon after the people were run out, but before it was destroyed. National Park now, where you can go and see no mention at all on the sign of the Christians who lived there for hundreds and hundreds of years. You can have a picnic in among the ruins of the houses that were bombed into mostly fallen stones. You can see the outlines of some of the houses, how strong the walls were close together. Beautiful arched windows in this house, this wall that still remains. This was a school and a courtyard for a home. This is the church, and this was the church Father Chacour was a young child in until that time when everybody had to leave their village of Baram. And it's the only building in Baram that people have been allowed to move back into, to use, to rebuild. So there are now weddings and baptisms and funerals and worship services on holy days that take place here for the families who still count themselves as being from Baram, including Father Chacour's family. The only place, however, that any of them can go to stay in Baram is the cemetery. And in the center of this picture, with the brown stones and the cross, is the grave site of Abuna's parents. This is a picture of Abuna at about age 12 when his father and mother sent him away from home to go to school in Haifa so that he could be educated beyond the grade school that was present where they had moved after they fled their destroyed village. And he studied in Haifa, Nazareth, and then went for university to France and for seminary, came back, and in 1965 was one of the first 2 priests ordained in the state of Israel since its founding. He was sent to a little village called Ibilin, had a hard time finding it, but once he got there, he thought he was being sent for a month until the bishop could decide where to send him. But he likes to say that the bishop forgot him and his month is still extending. Sign in Hebrew, English, and Arabic today telling you how to find Ibilin, but there were no signs, no paved roads, no electricity, very little running water. Ibilin did have 2 churches and a mosque. This is Father Chacour in the sanctuary of his church, St. George's Melkite Church in Ibilin. They had no parish house, and so he lived in his Volkswagen Bug, which was a present for his ordination. Lived there for about 6 months of his early time in Ibilin. He realized very quickly that one way to bring the people of the village together to support each other better than they were and to provide services that were missing in the village, he wanted to serve the children of both churches, the Greek Orthodox and the Melkite Catholic, and the children of the Muslim families from the mosque. And so he started first a kindergarten, built this building for them, for the young children. And this is that building today, surrounded by a bit more of Ibilin. But in that village, the building not only housed the kindergarten, but it also provided a public library space, community meeting space, and the ground for a summer camp program that became very popular. These are some of the 4-year-olds, and the 5-year-olds have their own playground in a different building now on the other campus. graduation day for kindergarten. But in 1982, the people of the village came to Abuna and they said, all of this kindergarten and summer camp is great, but what our students need in Ibaline is a high school. There was no high school in the village at all. And anyone who wanted to go to high school after finishing 8th grade at the poor quality government school in Ibaline had to travel either to Haifa or to Nazareth. And out of the few that went, maybe a very small number each year were girls. And he wanted an education program that could serve all the girls and all the boys, not only of Ibaline, but of the whole region, and bring people together across religious lines. So in 1982, Abuna founded the Mar Elias the Mar Elias High School in Ibaline. This is the first graduating class in 84. And this is what the building looks like today. It's crying out for a little bit of renovation, but it's still in use. And now this houses 105-year-olds and about 450 7th and 8th graders every day of school. This is the high school building now, the 1,200 high school students from all over 30 villages in northern Galilee. Elias Abu Ghanima is the principal of the high school now, and he was a 9th grader in that first 1982 class, the very first class to start at Mar Elias High School. Another version of the high school. They have up-to-date computer equipment and science lab equipment, largely thanks to donations of people from all over the United States and even around the world who have given through Pilgrims of Ibaline for these particular projects, but keeping the educational system state-of-the-art for the students who go there. The elementary school was the last formed. It was begun in 1997, added a grade every year. These are some of the elementary students. And the old high school is now the middle school, so these are some of the middle school students getting ready to go in for their school day. And finally, a gifted program for 4th through 8th graders from all over Galilee come in one day a week and study with a Jewish teacher in this Mar Elias Christian school with Muslim Christian classmates and the Jewish teacher, learning to make films. And the teacher says this is his favorite teaching day of the week, every week. The church on the campus has steps going up to it in which are engraved the Beatitudes in French, Arabic, Hebrew, and English. And the inside of the sanctuary. Underneath the sanctuary is a mural with many themes of reconciliation. The one I like to point out is Jacob and Esau at the very top, embracing each other when Jacob had come back from his self-imposed exile after cheating his brother out of the birthright. And this embracing and being able to reconcile after what seemed like such great violations and such terrible distance between them is a sign, we think, of hope that even conflicts that seem irreconcilable may have something in them that can lead to reconciliation and peace. God's Spirit, perhaps. On the right in that a saying, together we are stronger than the storm. Oops. This is my last slide, and it obviously shows a mosaic. This one is a copy of a famous mosaic. The famous one is in the floor at the Church of the Beatitudes by the Sea of Galilee. And you may know that that church was burned by Jewish extremists in June of this year. But this is a copy that students made on the wall of the school right across from the original high school building. And I want to point out the number of loaves of bread that are in the basket, because you know the number in the stories of Jesus' life, right? It was not 4 loaves and 2 fishes, as we see in the picture. So the question is, where's the 5th loaf? The original mosaic is under the communion table in the church at the Sea of Galilee. And so the 5th loaf is the loaf on the table, continually broken and shared. And at the school, I like to think that the 5th loaf is broken and expanded and multiplied in amazing ways in every classroom at Mar Elias every day. And so with that context, those pictures in mind, I turn it now to Mike Spath and Abuna Chacour.
Thank you, Joan, and welcome everyone. My name is Michael Spath, and I'm a board member of Pilgrims of Ibelline, and also I'm here as a representative of a group associated with the Kairos Palestine movement, Kairos USA. And if you'd like more information about Kairos USA, you can ask some of the members of the board here in Kairos, West Michigan, or myself after the program. Abuna, welcome. It's good to be traveling with you on this tour.
Thank you.
We saw from the slides, Abuna, that since the very beginning of your ministry in Ibelline, education of children has been at the very heart of who you are and what you're about. I'd like for you to talk about how that came about when you first moved to Ibelline, why education, the importance of Christian schools in Israel, and then, of course, you can update us on the strike and what's happening today with the Christian schools in Israel.
Do you want to give that I give a whole conference now?
There you go. Take as much time as you'd like, and you have a few minutes.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not only pleased and honored to be with you, but I'm confused and puzzled what to say. Because whenever I speak about this very specific conflict, Israel-Palestine, I have the impression I am moving a knife in a lively wound. It hurts. The more you say the truth, the more it hurts. The more you say what happens, the more you are in danger. But I want you to know this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here to defame Israel. I'm not interested in that. I'm not here to deny the existence of Israel. We never question its existence. It's so massive. What we questioned and we continue to question today are the qualities of that existence. In other terms, should I accept to be considered as a foreigner in my country? Should I accept to be a marginalized second-class citizen in my own ancestral country? That is unacceptable. That is not to be accepted whatsoever. That's why I hesitate to speak about this conflict. And very especially, I hesitate to put our dirty laundry in front of people who are outsiders. I prefer to wash that together with my Jewish brothers and sisters. And I tell them, I told Mr. Perez, who was visiting with me in the Archbishopric, you can do whatever you want. You can imprison us. You can take our land. You can leave us jobless. You can continue persecuting us. One thing you cannot teach us. He said, what is that, Your Grace? I said, you cannot teach us to hate you because we don't hate. And that's our major topic whenever we deal with this very, very problematic problem, Palestine, Israel, Israel, Palestine. What was the problem?
Education.
Yeah, when I became priest in 1965, my bishop sent me for 1 month to a village called Ibelline that I never knew before. I went with my Volkswagen on and on, half hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. no Abilene. Suddenly I was facing the Sea of Galilee. I realized that I was lost. I went to a gas station and asked these gentlemen, does anyone, one of you knows where Abilene is? One among them knew. He said, you are too far away. Go back, it's closer to Haifa. That's exactly what the bishop said. But he did not say where it is closer to Haifa. I ended by finding Abilene. It was a village of 3,200 inhabitants. Now it's 13,000. It was a village with dirt roads, no telephone, no electricity. Water they received twice a week. And they are like in an open prison. It is absolutely forbidden to leave the village without a written military permit. And that permit was delivered always to those who cooperate with the regime. I stayed there. I looked for the house of the parish priest. I asked some kids, do you know where the house of the priest is? They laughed and said, the priest has no house. I'm not Jesus Christ who did not have a stone to lay his head on. I said, these are kids. I will wait some adults to come around. And some adults were walking around. I said, gentlemen, do you know where the house of the priest is? He said, but Father, there is no house for the priest. Where does your priest used to stay? He never stayed with us. He came on Sundays and went away. Okay? I had no place to stay, but I had my Volkswagen bug. I decided I will stay in the Volkswagen bug that I received from a Christian family from Germany as a gift for my ordinations. I said, 1 month, that's 30 days, it's easy. They will go fast, and then I will have my final assignment. I did not know that my bishop, like all other bishops, and now including myself being archbishop, we normally have short memories. We forget things. If we don't forget, we fake forgetting. And my bishop forgot me there. And I forgot myself. I lived for 6 months in the Volkswagen bug, waiting for that month to end. I waited 38 years to see the end of the first month finishing. I wanted to do something. Between other things, I want to make a long story short. I wanted to know who are our Arabs in Israel. And I discovered that 75% of our people are under 27 years old. And 50% were under 14 years old. I said, goodness, the future with the Jews would depend on the quality of education we give to our young generation. I decided to consecrate all my life to the young generation. And I am still busy with that. And I'm grateful that I have chosen to give my life to young generation. What can I do in a village where there are Muslims and Christians? There is no unity. I decided to do something that does not cost me money. I had no money. Not like now, I have some money. So I said, I will go and visit every family in Abilene. I will start by visiting the Muslim families and then the Christian families. That created a bond of friendship between all of us. I see the results up till today. While visiting the families, I asked if the family had some old books they don't need. Give me those old books. I will repair them and I will distribute them to our children. And I started the first Arab public library in Galilee, which was destined to become the relatively large library of Mar Elias Educational Institutions, which exists now and then did not exist still. I said, that's okay, but that's not the solution for the youth. They have 2 long months of summer under the burning heat of the sun. Why don't I organize summer camps for these children? 3 weeks to live as human beings. And I organized the first summer camp for a minimum number of children. And the minimum number was 500. The first day of the summer camp, I was facing 1,127 children. What to do? First come, first served. That would be acceptable. But I could not accept that, because I never forgot that I am coming out from a very, very poor, deprived family. Our home was destroyed by the army. Our lands were confiscated. We left our homes with the clothes we have on us. And by that, I never was anywhere first, second, or last. Wherever I went, I arrived after the last. So I could not kick away these children. I reduced the activities and gave the children the possibility to enjoy. And every year we repeated the same summer camp, but with greater, bigger number of children. And we went on till 1980. By then we had no more the military regime. We became free to circulate between our villages. That year, my assistants, you might not believe it if you are a skeptic, we registered over 5,000 children of God for the summer camp. I was extremely confused. How can I provide food and drink for 5,000 children of God? I did remember that I am a man from Galilee. And in Galilee, when you are with 5,000, you are entitled to a miracle of multiplication of bread. But you needed Jesus Christ to do the miracle. I myself, poor man, I can't do any miracle. And it was not a normal Jesus Christ. It was a super Jesus Christ that was needed to make 3 miracles a day for 3 weeks. I was confused what to do. I spent the whole day praying for inspiration. What can I do? In the evening, the idea came to my mind, boy, why do you forget that everyone among these children has a very loving mother? Call the mothers for help. Yes, you mothers can turn the world upside down. That meant to meet with these mothers. Since the children came from 30 villages, we organized 30 meetings during the month before the summer camp for the mothers of these children. And we asked each group of mothers to send us 10 mothers a day. And that was glorious. Every morning I started my day with 300 most beautiful mothers. They made the miracle. While sipping coffee, while singing, while joking, they made the miracle so easy. What a wonderful gathering of mothers. You might be tempted to say, is your Christian community so beautiful? Oh no, it's much more than that. It's unbelievable, beautiful, and generous. But the reality was that those mothers who came every day, they were not all of them Christians, my ladies and gentlemen. Often the majority of those mothers were Muslim mothers. They made the miracle. That reminded me that we Christians do not have the monopoly of doing good. and we do not have an exclusive control over the Holy Spirit. And that was the last summer camp I organized, because the dignitaries of the village became greedy. They wanted me to give more, and I could not give more. They came and pressured me, "We don't want your summer camps." Why? I said, "What for? You care 3 weeks per year for our children, but they have 11 months and 2 weeks. Nobody cares for them. We need a high school." They were so convinced that I bought the idea. It became an obsession in me. I said, "I will try." I applied for a building permit. In Israel, you have to apply for everything you build so that the government has the opportunity to say no. And 3 months later, the answer came, "Denial. You don't have the right to build a school." So I'm a stubborn man, you know. I said, "What do you need, Elias, to have a school? Do you need a building or you need a building permit?" I said to myself, what I need is the building. The authority needs the building permit. So I started the construction without building permit and case surah. 3 months later, the police came. We're always a building high. He said, "Show me your building permit." I said, "Sir, you know that I don't have a building permit." And he said, "But how can you build without building permit, Mr. Chacour?" I said, "I'm sorry. I never built with building permits. I always build with sand, cement, steel, stone, and so on." The police was outraged. He said, "You don't do like that in a civilized country." I said, "Sir, I wish you were civilized enough. You would have given me the permit to build a school. And if I build without building permit, it's only in order to help you become more civilized." That's more than what he could do. He could have killed me. He said, "Stop arguing now. You're summoned to court, and the building, you stop construction." Okay. He disappeared, and we resumed the work immediately. I went to court. Till I became Archbishop 10 years ago, I was 37 times in court, always for building permit. That is my life. Okay.
Say a word, Abuna, about why Christian education, why the Christian schools in Israel are so important, and then talk a little bit about what's happening today. You received some word earlier today about the present situation of the Christian schools. Talk a little bit about that, because I know many of us in the room have been following the situation of the Christian schools in Israel.
Yeah. You excuse my voice, I lost it when I arrived to America. It's not your mistake, that's what happened. Our Christian schools for us are extremely important. Not only in Palestine. They had the same importance in Egypt. They have the same importance in Lebanon, Syria, in Iraq, in Jordan, and also in the Holy Land. Because this is the only means we have in our hands to tame each other, Christians and Muslims, to grow together, to build friendship together. And we wish that the Jewish children could come and enjoy with us, become our partners. This is what happens in Egypt, where the elite of the Jewish community was educated in Christian schools. Our schools is the only place where we can give some from our values to our children. In the school that I built in Ebeline, from the very beginning, I wanted it to be an open school. And the first thing we did, we opened our doors as our hearts were opened for our Muslim neighbors who are my children like my Christian children. And they did not wait to come. Now, we have 60% of the 3,500 children are Muslims. They are beautiful boys and girls, ambitious, intelligent, and we are proud of them. We wanted also to see if there is a possibility to win the friendship of some Jews. I spent the year 1999 going from Jewish kibbutz to other Jewish moshav to Jewish villages, convincing the committees of parents to send their children to us. I was only able to convince 82 families. And the 1st of September, 2000, when the bus with the Jewish kids came, was climbing this mountain, I became so scared. What have I done? Didn't I bring calamity to our school, to myself, in bringing Jews to us? How can I subdivide these Jewish students, 10 or 15, together in a classroom where there are 33 or 32 Palestinian, Muslim and Christians are hurting, all are hurting, frustrated, sad, because their land was confiscated, because they are refugees. So I decided not to let the Jews go in. I said, wait here. I ordered 4 buses immediately. 4 buses came. I loaded them with my Palestinian children, the Muslim and the Christians, and I looked at the Jewish children, and I said to myself, these are no more Jews, these are my children. So they went 4 groups into the 4 buses. And I said to the teacher, go spend the day on Mount Carmel. And I was ready to wait for them to see how many were hurting, how many were insulted, how many were wounded, how many fought against each other. At 4 o'clock they came back, buses parked, opened doors, and these children started jumping out like little monkeys. They seemed to be very happy. They forgot that they were Jews, Muslims, and Christians. They discovered that they were just kids. Oh, bless these kids who can forget all the labels, all the preconceived ideas, and discover that their neighbor is a kid like them. I won't go further. I will leave Michael speak.
The strike.
Yeah, now our children are on strike. That means 33,000 children do not go to school since the beginning of September. And that hurts us a lot, that pains us a lot. We don't like to go on strike. We don't like to protest publicly against Israel or against anybody. But we were cornered to say, we are suffering, we are sad, we cannot continue. Because since 10 years, up till 10 years ago, we received a subsidy from the state, Israeli state, which equaled 75% of what Jewish children receive in their schools. We said 75%, that's okay, we can manage. But 10 years ago, they decided to dry our schools out. How? To reduce the subsidies they give us. Every year, they cancel 4%, 5%, 10%. This last September, they decided to cut 19%. And that brought the total subsidies we received and are remained to 24%, which is impossible to run the school, to pay the salaries of the teachers. With that 19%, a letter was issued to all parents that Christian schools are not allowed to collect money from the parents. So they closed the way on both sides. We went on strike. We organized a manifestation in Jerusalem in front of the office of Mr. Netanyahu. We were estimated to be around 13,000 persons protesting. There was a big surprise for us. We never believed that the Muslims in Israel would care in any way if we are having problems with the government, and that left a kind of suspicion, of doubt, of hesitation to build good relations. We were surprised in Jerusalem to see at least 45 to 50 municipal mayors, 50 leaders, religious leaders, sheikhs, Muslim, coming to manifest their solidarity with us. And they spoke so eloquently. These schools are our schools. It's there that we've been educated. We cannot tolerate that they be persecuted like they are now. And to give you the proof, they said, tomorrow, all the Arab schools in Israel will go on strike in solidarity with the Christian schools, which pushed the bishop, who had to close the manifestation, to stand up and say, here we are, Muslims and Christians. We are facing a situation of deep injustice. Let us finish with a prayer. And what prayer did the bishop invite us to say? To read the Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran, and to say the prayer of the Lord. It's a historical stand, which was never done before. And we are so proud that to the generosity of our Muslim brothers, we answered with another generosity to pray the Fatiha with them. And why not? These are words that can be prayed by Christians, by Muslims. They praise God in beautiful way. But we did it. We are still on strike. This morning, there was a meeting with the Minister of Education, Mr. Bennett, who is from the ultra-Orthodox right wing, with the representatives of our schools. And he proposed to them, stop the strike and we give you 50 million shekel. They said, why? He said, we'll give you that as a favor. They said, but we are not striking to ask for favors. We are striking to ask for equality, for rights. We're not bigger for favors. We continue the strike. Behind the curtains, some representative of the Ministry of Education met with our committee and said, we can provide you 100%, provided. You will not believe that. It's unbelievable. Provided you stop speaking Arabic and you start learning Aramaic. My God. Is that possible? And we refused. It's so complicated. We do not want to protest against Israel. I was cornered to telephone the mayor of Haifa when I was archbishop, saying, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you are lovable. We don't know how to love you. It was the celebration of the Holy Cross, and 7 officers of the High Police of Israel came to my residence saying, "You're the Archbishop. Your celebration of the Holy Cross is falling with the same celebration of Yom Kippur. And we ask you either to postpone it a few days or to celebrate it a few days before." I said, "Why? It's a good opportunity to be together, to celebrate together." They said, "No, we are afraid that your youth will come into the street, make noise, and make trouble, and the Jews will answer, and we will have a big battle all around." I said, "Okay, I have the right solution. It's for 1600 years that we celebrate the elevation of our cross on the 14th of September, while your Yom Kippur is ambulant, every year is a different date. Why don't you push it a little bit backwards, forwards?" They said, "We are the majority." I said, "I am the right one, you are wrong." Then they sent me the chief of the ultra-Orthodox religious party. He came to my residence. He said, "The first time I enter a Christian house," I said, "You're welcome. I love you. I love to see you here." And he repeated what the police wanted. I told him, "But why are you afraid?" He said, "Because on the Feast of the Holy Cross, you make big marches with fire and with drums." And I said, "Who told you that? We never did that." He said, "I'm astonished." I said, "Go and verify your sources. They are wrong." Then he said, "If that's so, we are brothers. Continue." And we celebrated the Holy Cross. The same day the Jews had Yom Kippur, I instructed my priests and my parishioners to remember that Jews are fasting one day a year. Don't know what they do the rest of the year. Please respect their fasting. If you want, fast with them, but don't trouble anybody. A week later, the chief of the Israeli police wrote me a letter thanking me for keeping all these Christians quiet. It's wrong, I did not keep anybody quiet. They keep themselves quiet. Yes, please.
You mentioned in your first answer some of the obstacles that you faced in building the buildings that we saw on the campus. And I know with first-time crowds, you often share the story about the building permits, about the gymnasium. And I wondered if you would share that story tonight.
God, I should not have told you all that. It was in 1986. We had only one building fit for maximum 350 children. But we had registered over 700 that year. I needed more space for the children. So I decided to build a gym, sports hall, with few workshops and few classrooms. And as it should be, I applied as a good boy for a building permit. The answer was clear. This time your drawings are perfect. You will have your building permit, thank God. But they said, you have to bear with us. Our bureaucracy is normally so slow. I took the message, understood that their decision is not going to be a technical decision, but a political decision. So I left them busy with slow bureaucracy and got myself busy with fast construction. We dug the foundation, came up with the columns, and a year later we were pouring the platform of the gym, and the police arrived saying, you don't have yet your building permit. I said, you're right. He said, that's why I'm coming with an official order. You stop today the building or you go to prison. By all means, you have to return to court. Okay. We stopped building, but we started digging underground rooms. Nobody could stop us for that. We dug 3 big classrooms. It was not in Hawaii or in Honolulu or in India. It was in Galilee. At the same time, I started knocking on the doors of every official Jew in the country. Please help me have the building permit. It took me 6 years knocking on the doors. The traces are on my finger yet. Nobody refused to listen, but no one moved a finger to help. After 6 years, I felt that I'm helpless. I'm lost. I have no way. I was totally depressed. When I'm depressed, I become crazy. And crazy ideas came, saying, boy, why are you so depressed? You don't know that the shortest way to Jerusalem passes through Washington, D.C.? Go to Washington, D.C. I bought a flight ticket and flew into National Airport, which, as some of you know, is not in the neighborhood of Washington. It's in the center of Washington. I rented a car and decided to pop into the residence of your Secretary of State there. That's too daring to do, yeah? This is what can happen. They can kick me, imprison me, so what? By all means, I'm in bad shape. I drove the car to Vauxhall Road, number 17, parked in front of that beautiful residence, and went to the entrance door, and I knocked. Secretary of State was not there. His wife, Susan Baker, bless her heart, came herself to open the door, not because of me, but because she was expecting the arrival of few more American ladies. She opened her door, and here I am. I don't look like a lady. I don't look like a normal American. I was very tense. She was shocked. She said, who are you? I said, Madame, I am another man from Galilee. I know what kind of people you are from your smiles. That's good. She said, do you have an appointment with us? I said, Madame, women from Galilee, we never make appointments, we make appearances. Poor Susan, she was utterly confused. She could not kick me out. She did not want to let me in. She invited me to the right side door, which gave right into their kitchen. Oh my God, they have such a beautiful kitchen. I could spend my life there without needing anything. And she, out of politeness, gave me hospitality, something to drink. I don't know how you Americans drink that liquid. I pity you for that. How can you drink iced tea? She gave me a glass of iced tea. I swallowed that iced tea out of politeness. I still have the bad smell in my mouth. When I go to your church, to your community, your home, please don't offer me iced tea. I took 1 minute to drink that glass of iced tea when Susan said, Mr. Chacour, I'm sorry I can't stay longer with you. And she was walking me to the entrance door. She said, I am busy with 20 American ladies. We are having a Bible study hour. I said, great. What kind of Bible study hour, ma'am? She said, we are having a look on the so-called Sermon on the Mount. I said, wow, I pity you. Good luck. I said, why do you pity me? I said, because what will you be able to understand from that sermon? It was not written by an American author, but by a simple peasant next door to my village. And he did not write it in your American slang. He wrote it in one of my Semitic languages. Good luck, madam. And Susan Baker immediately answered, I see what you say. Can you help us understand it better? Oh, Mamma Mia, yes. I said, I will try. I was reintroduced this time, no more to the kitchen, but to the living room where the ladies were. And I started explaining to them the Sermon on the Mount, starting with the 8 first verses, which are called by your people who translate the Bible the blessings, or some other time you call them the Beatitudes. And when people want to be extravagant among you, they call them the Be Happy Attitudes. 2 hours, that was a long appearance, you agree? I ended by inviting these ladies, please go home now and do everything to convince your husbands to get their hands dirty for peace and justice, for the Jews and for the Palestinians. If they find that's too much to get their hands dirty, 1 or 2 fingers would be more than enough to bring us peace and justice. I left 2 copies of my books, Blood Brothers and We Belong to the Land, to Susan Baker, said goodbye and went to the hotel, slept one night, and the day after I took the plane back home. I did not mention at all the building permit. It was no more opportune to do that. 1 week later, the telephone rang in my very simple office in the school. It was Susan Baker on the other end of the line. Mr. Chacour, can we pray together? What do you think? Why not? Yes. And she started praying on the telephone. When she finished, I said few sentences. I was surprised because I never imagined that there will come a day in my life when I would be speaking to Almighty God on the telephone. Normally over there we speak with him right away. We have a direct line. In America, I do like Americans. This operation repeated itself twice, 3 times a month. More than once, a third person would interrupt our prayer saying, stop both of you. It's my time to pray. I have 5 minutes only. I need to go to the office. It was your Secretary of State himself. Soon I ceased being this strange fellow who popped onto our home. I was no more this Oriental priest with strange beard who came and knocked our door. I just became their Abuna. And Abuna is the beautiful name we give to our parish priests, our father. Three months later, I was cornered with the building permit. I remember that I went to Washington, not in order to drink iced tea, and not to pray on the telephone, and not to speak with God on the telephone. I went to Washington in order to ask help for the building permit. I took the telephone and called the Bakers. Susan was always on the other end of the line. She has amazing lady. Yes, Abuna, what's the matter now? I said, look, Susan, either you help me solve my problem or you will have to come and visit me in prison. She said, why? I explained to her the building permit problem. She said, don't worry. I will write a letter right away after we finish this talk, inviting him, encouraging him, and she said, and a little bit ordering him to give you the building permit. And that's what she did. She wrote a 2-page letter addressed to Mr. Shamir and waited for her husband to come to show him the draft. He saw that. He said, Susan, you will not send that. You might create a diplomatic crisis between Israel and the States. They don't care, but we care far too much to let it happen. It was just after Gulf War II, with the very big coalition that Baker organized with 160 countries to go and kill the poor Saddam Hussein. They did not have such a big coalition. Yeah. He took that draft, went to his office. After half hour, he called Susan. Darling, could you come, please? I said, what do you want? He said, do you agree to sign this letter? And I will co-sign it with you. I will take 2 copies of Abuna's books. I promise you, I will hand-deliver them to Prime Minister Shamir, and I will not leave his office before having the building permit in my hand, no matter what the obstacles are. Oh, great. 3 weeks ago, he was due to come to Jerusalem for negotiation for peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis. At the end of his official visit, he asked to be taken to Shamir's office. He said, it's not in the protocol. He said, the protocol can make it. This is my wish. I want to go and see Shamir. He took with him an international diplomat called Dennis Ross, a Jew, and they went to Shamir. And Shamir, the poor man, was so shocked. The Secretary of State is coming to visit me. What for? I don't know. So he was waiting under the table of his office. You understand me well? Under the table of his office. This is the only prime minister in the world who used to live under the table, not around the table. You know why? The poor man was so short. That's the joke we tell each other, Jews and Palestinians, together about this prime minister. He was a strong man, but he was so short. Not his mistake. And Baker entered his office. Yes, Mr. Secretary, what can I do for you? He said, look, I need a favor from you. You need a favor? Yes, that's why I am coming personally to ask you for a favor. He said, please ask whatever you want. He said, look, Mr. Shamir, every beginning of September, we sign checks as foreign aid to Israel that are worth several $billion every year. We do that with joy and with a smile in the heart. And I'm coming to ask you a favor in order for us to be able to continue giving these checks with smile and with happiness. And the poor Shamir asked, yes, what do you need? Tell me. And Baker candidly said, I need a building permit for my friend Chacour in Galilee. And Shamir asked, what's the problem with him? He said, there is no problem, and all the problems are with your bureaucracy. He said, okay, I promise you he will have his permit maximum the end of this week. And Baker said, I am sorry. I promised him I will take the permit in my hands. Can you sit down? I write a letter to the authorities in Nazareth and in Akko to deliver the permit immediately. And Shamir sat down and wrote with his handwriting to the authorities, you deliver the building permit to Chacour, no matter what the objections are, no matter what the questions are. You deliver it without any question. And handed the letter to Baker. Baker went out happy. His wife will be happy of him. And he gave the letter to the ambassador of America in Tel Aviv, who was commissioned to send me the letter the same day. And that's how we got a building permit. 1 million. 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 1 million what was thrilling for me is that 1.5 years later, when the gym was ready, Jim Baker called me himself for the first time, saying, Abuna, I am coming with Susan to visit you in your school. I said, you're kidding. Please don't come. I said, why? I said, what will you come to do in a village with dirt roads, with no telephone, no electricity, water we hardly have? Tell me where you are, I will creep and come and thank you. And he said, I don't mind where you live. I mind to come and visit you where you are. And he came. I invited about 40 intimate friends to come and share lunch with bakers. And while they were eating all together, I took James Baker alone and went to the grotto that was made in a chapel for us. And we prayed together for peace and justice for the Jews and for the Palestinians. And he left in peace. 6 months later, the Israeli Foreign Ministry called me for the first time, saying, Mr. Chacour, you have heard that our foreign minister was given the Nobel Peace Prize. I said, yes, I know that. And they said, he wishes to give one of his first lectures on peace and justice in your institution. Do you agree? What do you think? Not only I agreed, I invited 1,500 Palestinian dignitaries from all around Galilee to come and listen to Shimon Peres, who is still alive, I hope for a long time, speak about justice and peace. These people who came were jammed in the gym, and I was waiting for the minister to arrive with his car to welcome him duly. He came on time. I greeted him, and I was walking him into the crowded gym. I tried to tell him the story of that gym. When I started telling him the story, he said, please, Mr. Chacour, can you stop? I don't want to listen to any of your stories about this gym. I know much more than what you think about this place. I'm not coming so much to speak about peace and justice as to see what for did James Baker raise hell in Jerusalem. And here's the crucial question for you Americans. Are you ready to raise hell? When hell is to be raised to protect the poor, the voiceless, the minority, the marginalized, the hungry, or, God forbids, you adopt the policy of the chameleon, this reptile. Chameleon has no color. It hides always with the environment. When it's black, it takes black color. It's white, it's white. Red is red. I hope nobody here has this vocation. You have a color. You have a value. You have an example. You have to go ahead with your dignity. And why not raise hell when hell is made to adjust what has been deranged? This is my question to you. I hope, I pray, and I thank all those who decide, whenever they see clear, not to hesitate to raise hell. I have raised hell so often, and I still continue raising hell. I'm not afraid that they would kill me. I was kidnapped by the PLO once. I'm ready to be killed. I'm not afraid, simply because of one thing. To be killed is a problem of 3 days. Then I will rise up. If we believe that seriously, from what would we be afraid? To you, Michael.
Thank you. Well, I have a number of other questions, but I'm going to stop asking questions now. We have about 20 minutes, and I'd like to open up the floor for any questions from you. And Megan, I'll let you turn that on and pass the microphone around. And just raise your hand and ask your question briefly so we can get as many questions in as possible. Who would like to ask the first question? Right here.
I have a very simple question. On the cover of Blood Brothers, is one of the little boys you?
Sorry?
On the cover of Blood Brothers is one of the boys you.
No.
Oh, I was sure that cute little
No,
boy
I
on
am
the left
not.
was you.
It's the choice of the editor, the edition. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay. Thank you.
Another question.
I wish all questions need such short answers.
Right here. Yes, yes, sir.
How do you explain to Palestinians why the U.S. government does not do
Why what?
How do you explain to Palestinians why the U.S. government does not do all the time what it did in the one instance with James Baker?
I don't understand.
Megan, could you repeat that?
Yes.
The acoustics are difficult.
How do you explain to Palestinians why the U.S. government doesn't continue to act the way they did in response to Mr. Baker?
So in other words, why doesn't the U.S. government continue to act like James Baker did?
I think that's
Why doesn't that happen more often?
Yeah, I think this is your task to ask your government, not my task. I wonder why this one-sided policy. I don't know why the United States so far believes that every solution, every conflict has a solution through weapons and money. No, please stop sending weapons to the Middle East. Stop sending weapons to ISIS, to Israel, to Iraq, to everywhere. It's not with money and weapons we can build humanity. It's with love and mutual respect. So ask your government, please. I respect all of them.
Abuna, another part of that question was, how do you talk to Palestinians then about the U.S. government? How do you talk to your Palestinian community about the U.S. government?
I wish you could be with me and having a hat of where you can see, nobody can see you. I speak them like I speak to you. I don't have two languages. I have one language. And sum it all, I repeatedly say to them, and now they are saying to me, violence breeds more violence. And with weapons, you cannot win friendship. You can serve your own interest. And we teach them that the otherness of the other is not automatically a threat. It's another opportunity to enrich yourself. And I myself teach them that I am against tolerance. I know you're shocked. Because tolerance had ambivalent meanings. I tolerate you, my friend. You can stay there till I find a final solution for you. That is tolerance. I hate it. I replace it by welcoming acceptance. Lady, you are there. I need you to be there. Your presence is helping me to know who I am. This is the education we give to our children. That's why you never heard of any Christian terrorist or one who used violence or was troublemakers. But now Israel is pushing us all bold to say, we protest, we don't agree, we want our rights. And I hope you understand the importance of that.
There's a question over here, and then I saw a hand over here.
How much longer will Netanyahu remain in power?
How much longer will Netanyahu remain in power?
Oh, it's not Netanyahu has to be changed. We have to change the people of Israel to redirect them towards more tolerance. And the Netanyahu is a product of the public opinion. I don't think he will remain more than this time, but he has done everything he could have done. And he tried to do more evil than what he has done so far. God forgive him.
There was a hand over here, please. Yes.
Father, thank you so much for the inspiration. You are a bright light at a time of darkness, at a time of challenge, and a true test to our beliefs as Christians. My question to you, Father, is what would you like us to do tonight to give you the comfort that your trip has been a success in the U.S.?
Thank you. That's such a clear question. It's such a difficult answer to give. First of all, please, I am not here to instruct you what to do or what not to do. You are clever people. You reach the moon. You can't reach an opinion what to do for justice and peace in Israel, Palestine. But yet I dare ask you for one favor. You have many Jews around you. Some Jews might be here. You are most welcome, brothers. Some Jews might be your friends. Some among your Jewish friends might be this kind of very decent, noble, open-minded Jews. Some others among your Jewish friends might be very fanatic Jews, and that exists. You can discuss with them anything you want in the world, but don't touch on Israel. It's the golden calf. Some others might be pro-settlers. All they want to do is to raise funds anywhere from anyone to send to Israel to build one more settlement in the occupied territories. If such are your Jewish friends, listen to me well, please. I beg you, on behalf of all Palestinian children, the refugees camps and elsewhere, if thus are your Jewish friends, please do not give up on them. Do not stop your friendship to them. Continue supporting them. Continue helping them. Continue standing on their side. But who told you to stand on the side of the Jews must automatically mean, as it means till now, you become anti-Palestinian? Why this should imply the other? You don't know us Palestinians. I might be among the very few Palestinians who ever spoke in this holy place. So be with the Jews. Send them all the money of the United States. Little bit less weapons would be better for them, because you are helping to kill Israel with your weapons. You're not helping Israel to solve its problems. When they have too much weapons, why peace? Why peace? Why tolerance? And if you happen to have read one or the other books written by Palestinians, the books of Naim Atik, Justice and Only Justice, a Palestinian Christian cry for No, not for reconciliation. Thank you. I have the book in my hand. I forgot it. I'm becoming old. I'm sorry. Or if you happen to have read one of my books or other books, or you met with one of the Palestinians and you gave him time to tell you his story, his very passionate story. If you have been in the Holy Land and you enjoyed the hospitality of some Palestinians and you sympathize with the Palestinians, you decided to stand on our side. Why not? Please do that. Don't be afraid. Stand on our side. You would be standing for the first time on the right side, right? But if standing with us and you become pro-Palestinian, and that would mean for you, you start tolerating everything any Palestinian does because he's Palestinian. If you start interpreting whatever is done evil as good with some compassionate words, if standing with us would mean you become pro-Palestinian, anti-Jew, please understand what I plead from you. We don't need your friendship. What for? To be one-sided pro-Jew or pro-Palestinian. That means you reduce your generosity and your dignity to become one more poor, miserable enemy. And we don't need any more enemy. We have made enough enemies among ourselves. We have made enough martyrs on both sides. And believe me, the martyrs of the Palestinians are considered as terrorists by the Israeli Jews. And the martyrs of the Jews are considered as terrorists by the Palestinians. Both are wrong and both are drastically right. We Palestinians and Israelis do not need anybody to teach us how to make peace, how to live together. Please don't come to teach us how should we behave towards each other. We don't need that. We need something very simple. We need to help Israel and the Palestinians to put into parentheses the last 67 years and to consider them to be an exception which confirms the rule, and to go back to 67 years ago and continue the common life we had together, the life that we shared together. Try to read the history of Judaism in Morocco, in Alexandria, Egypt, in Baghdad, in Damascus. We used to ally together when foreign invasions comes. When the Crusaders came, we were one body against the Crusaders. Because they branded the sword of the devil, pretended being to protect the holy places and to reduce the inhabitants into pieces. We love you, Americans. You know what I wish now? I wish that our children could be here. Stand for a minute, look at that and say, well, that is most beautiful. It's not the face of America that we see through the movies you send to us, through the weapons you spread all around the Middle East, through the dollars you spread to ISIS, to Israel, to everybody. What for all that? That cannot build peace. Peace can be built with love and with tolerance, with acceptance that the other has the right and the beauty to be different from us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. My name is Marilyn Torborg, and I'm part of the emerging board from Kairos, West Michigan. And on behalf of all of us, thank you very much, Abuna and Mike and Joan. You have shared your heart with us, and we treasure that, and we'll take that home. We were not able to do this alone. We have other co-sponsors, First United Methodist, their Committee for Peace with Justice, Hope Church, Reformed Church, Third Reformed Church down the street, and also Western Theological Seminary. We want to thank St. Francis de Sales and Hope College for hosting us. I would like to introduce the fellow board members. You'll be hearing about our group in the future, if you have not in the past. We're just getting going and have had the privilege of bringing Abuna here. So if you could just stand, Megan, who is just taking the questions, there you Megan Hodgins, George Hunsberger, where's George? Up in the back. Reverend John Kleinexel. Oh, way back here, okay. Mark Rich, where's Mark? Ah, the photographer over there. Reverend Marlon Viss, who is not here this evening, and Dr. Travis West. Where's Travis? He's not easy to miss. Yeah, he kind of stands above all. So just for your information, this evening was videotaped, and so if you know of anybody who couldn't be here, they could catch it through the St. Francis de Sales website. All of our masses are streamed, so you could catch it that way. Also, we want to invite you afterwards to join us for some refreshments and continue the conversations. Abuna Chacour's books will be there, and he will be available to sign them. One of the things to look forward to, we don't have the details yet, but Dr. Mark Braverman, who is the executive director from Kairos, USA, will be joining us November 9th and 10th, so listen for more details. And that'll get a whole different perspective on this. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for coming.